It's the Believe in Texans podcast sponsored by FanDuel, here with Cecil Shorts, former Texan. I'm Seth Payne, former Texan. Cecil, the bye week is always a good time to reflect on maybe how everything's gone so far and what you expect on into the future. The one question that I keep getting asked this week, it's always a surprise to me because I never really thought about it much when I was a player, but just the bye week being in week 6. A lot of people seem kind of upset about it because it feels like, oh, we finally got some momentum. Now we got to build on that. How do you feel about bye week positioning?
I actually thought about it a lot as a player.
Mm-hmm.
I always wanted it somewhere in the middle. Right.
Okay, that's a good point. Yeah, you're exactly right. You're right.
I never wanted it like I didn't want to have to play 13 games and then the bye weeks later. Right.
Yeah.
We're all worn out. But I didn't want it like super early, like week whatever. The first week you can have it week 5 or 4. I wanted it somewhere in the middle, right? And I thought that was a good breakup. Halfway through, you got 8 more or 7 more, whatever it is. When we played, like kind of halfway through the season, just to give you a quick break, a good mental relax, get your body up, and then I can go for the rest of the season. But I never wanted the early bye. I never wanted the late bye. So I was praying when the schedule came out. Okay, one of the first things I look for is where is the bye week. Of course, what primetime games are going on. Do I play in my hometown?
Yeah.
All this stuff. And where is the bye week? So
this is the thing I think about the bye week this year is that, yes, the offense showed growth and progress these last 2 weeks, but they face kind of a gauntlet when they come out of the bye week. So right now I'm looking at that offense and we'll go down through and talk about where we feel confident, where we're concerned. But on the sum total of it, I want Nick Caley to be able to look at the first 5 games, learn some lessons, figure out where his blind spots were, be able to sit down with D'Amico and the analytics people and everything and kind of figure out, all right, this is what we did well. This is what we need improvement on. This is what we need to just throw out the window because it sucks.
No, that's critical. But that's part of the reason too. I like halfway during the year.
Yeah.
Because halfway through, you got 8 games in there, 9 games in there, even 10 games. You can see my tendencies, see what we need to work on, see where we improved at from beginning to halfway through. But Nick Caley needs a solid, not reset, but a solid evaluation of, okay, these are the areas that we really got to improve on. Okay, pass protection, run game, this. I'm just saying things. Right?
Yeah.
Then these are the areas we really did well, but how do we continue to do that well? And how do we do this maybe in a different formation, but it's the same thing to our players, but it looks different to the opposing defense, right? So it's a big-time evaluation, not only for Nick Caley, but the players as well. But Nick Caley being his first year as an OC is going to be huge that he evaluates himself really, really well and then come out and start, because like you mentioned, I think it's 49ers and Seahawks,
49ers, Broncos, and the Jaguars. Yeah.
The Jaguars. Like those opponents are all probably I think he put like 14 wins down. 14?
No, exactly at 14-6. Those guys are combined. Yep.
Like you're coming out against some really good opponents, so you got to come out rolling on top of things. And I think the challenge for a coach is the things that aren't going well. How do I coach those better, or how do I figure out a way to get to them so we can execute how I vision it in my head? That's the hard part for the coach.
So right now, FanDuel has the Texans tied with the Seahawks with the 15th best odds to win the Super Bowl at plus 4,000. So basically about 40-1. That feels like an improvement over what I didn't even bother looking at that in the first 3 games when they started off 0-3. But if we look at the offense, the one thing I wanted to ask you about, because I don't think we've talked about this aspect of the offense in a couple of weeks, is I don't remember seeing as many instances where the spacing with the wide receivers looked as bad as it did in the first 3 games. And is that something you've noticed, or is that me just kind of trying to ignore it because I don't want to think about it?
It's something they got better at, and I think we underestimate the impact Christian Kirk has on the offense as well.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean? Like having a veteran that understands where to be, understands where I'm supposed to be at during the play. I think last week he had like 4 catches for 64 yards, which is a big deal. If you get him rolling, get him in some momentum going, it can open up a lot of things for your offense. So I think the spacing has been better. I still want to see more usage from the receivers. If I'm being honest, more usage from the younger guys, more usage from Christian Kirk. But we're getting there. Like I think it's the 3rd week he's been back, Christian Kirk. His stats have grown each and every week. And I think CJ is getting comfortable with him and getting on the same page with live action. But that's going to open up a tremendous amount of things for Nico and Schultz and everybody else involved, and especially the running game. So I think spacing is better, but Christian Kirk is a big part of that.
I know, and I think a big part of the two, if I'm going to talk about pass protection and whether that's improved, you could see week by week the pressure rate has gone down in a good way. The CJ's being pressured less and less, but it's also as CJ's been getting rid of the ball real quickly. And that, to your point, Christian Kirk is a big deal, just as it was with, Stephon Diggs last year in the first half of the season when he was healthy. CJ was able to get rid of the ball a lot of times when there was bad pass protection and get it to Stephon Diggs on a tight window throw. And I think you see that potential with Christian Kirk for sure. And then hopefully Jalen Noel. Jalen Noel's snap count didn't actually go up all that much last week, but they got the ball to him. And that's the promising thing there. The other question I wanted to ask you, just because you played in a similar, Bill O'Brien's system was an offshoot of what he learned in New England. And obviously that's a lot of what Nick Haley's doing here. Caserio was asked about the New England system and the perception that, hey, they're running a New England system. Landry Locker and him, we actually went back and forth for a while on this in the press conference yesterday. But this part of it was interesting to me. It was Caserio describing the New England system and some of its benefits.
Not biased, but sometimes it simplifies for everybody involved. And I think defenses have done a good job of evolving. So I think what you're trying to do is just equip the players and the quarterback for answers if there's an issue. And there's going to be times where the defense presents situations where maybe they have an extra player that you can't block or you can't account for. So it's really more, I would say, in a protection system front than it is anything else. Route concepts, run games, some of those other things. I mean, honestly, it's probably universal. I mean, you can look around the league. Maybe some teams emphasize a few more things relative to others. But again, I don't want to say it's actually a very player-friendly system. It's quarterback-friendly, and you have to learn the terminology and what you call things, and sometimes you got to be able to translate a little bit. But even that system, it evolved over time, and it's not certainly cut and paste.
So the player-friendly part was the part that got me, because I think a lot of times the perception is, wow, this is a hard system to learn. But Caserio would say, yeah, but it's player friendly because it gets guys in the right position. Does that jibe with your feeling about it?
Yeah, I agree totally. It's definitely player friendly. It's just hard to learn, right?
Yeah.
It's not that the concepts are hard. It's not that the routes are hard. It's just a lot of information at once. And if you're new to the offense, it's like, okay, how do I learn this? So you really got to take time to study it, right? But he's right. There's always answers to everything. Like literally, I remember being in the slot, playing in the slot in this particular offense, and I'm looking at 2 or 3 different things. If they blitz off the edge, I do this. If they're playing zone, I do this. If it's cover 2, I know I got to do this. It's always an answer to everything that the defense does. It's just a matter of, can the quarterback, the offensive line, and the receivers, running backs included, can they be on the same page? That's the hard part about the offense. But once you get it and it's rolling, it's a beautiful thing. And it's definitely player friendly, but it's a lot of reps that's needed. And that's why I'm trying to be patient when it comes to CJ and the O-line and everybody. Because once they get going, it's gonna be a fun thing to watch.
Well, that's what it feels like over the course of the first 5 weeks. We've seen those instances where, oh, okay, yeah, they saw what they needed to do, they made the adjustment, and it worked. And you can see the potential for it, but then you're reminded real quickly on the next series, like, oh, okay, but they're not perfect at it yet. I guess the analogy people always use when you're learning a new offense is that it's like it's learning a new language, or it's like learning Chinese. I feel like the way Caserio described it, it felt like when you learn a new computer program, like say the first time you learn how to use Excel, and it's long and it's slow and it's laborious, but once you start learning how to use spreadsheets, you're like, oh my gosh, I can't believe I ever actually tried to manage numbers or a budget or anything without this before.
No, for sure. I definitely can see that analogy. I think too, right, for the quarterback, it's so much on the quarterback because they're calling the pass protection. They're calling out to the tight ends, the running backs, or the slot receivers, whoever's closest to them. They're pointing out, hey, if this particular guy blitzes, you're hot. If this guy blitzes, you're hot, right? And there's a lot of time in the red zone, you're coming to the line of scrimmage with 2 plays. So based on the coverage, based on what blitzes they may have, I have to call as a quarterback, either a run play or a pass play.
Yeah.
And sometimes it might not be the best pass play. I got to get out of that pass play, or say somebody forgets a play. I got to, hey, you're on this side. Cecil, you're on this side. Seth, you're on this side. So it's so much that goes into it. But once you learn it, man, I'm telling you, like once the faster CJ gets it, this offense is going to continue to ascend and continue to do well.
You know, one of the most interesting things quarterback ever told me was Sage Rosenfels. Actually, I was asking him about like if you guys really if you had all the time in the world, could you predict what each defense was doing before the snap? And he said, yeah, every single time. But there's not time to do it. You know, like if I could look at all 11 players and pick out like, oh yeah, I know that safety looks like he's blitzing, but he's not. So it's always a matter of just looking at what you can look at and what you can process and knowing a few key things. But every time I think that I understand a little bit about how hard it is to play quarterback, I talk to a quarterback and I'm like, oh no, I don't even. There's no way. I'd be a jumbled mess.
I can't imagine, because at the line of scrimmage, I mean, you're getting there 20, 15 seconds left, and you got to process all the things we just talked about in that amount of time and snap the ball, and then post snap things may change, and then guys like you are coming at them and trying to knock it off. Like
that's one of the things that drives me most insane about Twitter analysts when they're analyzing film, because you see this so often, not all of them, but a bunch of them. They'll say, well, I don't know why the quarterback didn't just turn across to the other side of the field where a guy's wide open. And you're watching the film and you're like, there's a 325-pound guy 6 inches away from him when you're expecting him to turn and make the throw. And that's what happened. You know, the one sack in the game on the sack that CJ took where the edge defender was completely unblocked. There were at least possibly two things going wrong on that. One, there was a miscommunication on the offensive line because with the slide protection they had called, I think that Titus probably still should have had the defensive end. But then also Woody Marks released. But I mean, if he could have, I think a veteran running back might have realized, oh wait, the protection screwed up. Woody released and he never looked back. So, you know, CJ is looking at Woody and thinking like, I'm in trouble here. By the time he saw that Woody wasn't looking at him, the guy was right on top of him, you know, and because that was the criticism people had of CJ. Like, well, if he couldn't throw it to Woody, why didn't he throw it to anybody else? Because he had a person in his face. That was it. Yeah. But that's also that's where the protection. I thought Ariante Ursary played well as a pass protector in that game. There's some things in the run game where he's still looking like a rookie a lot. But by and large, my concerns about the pass protection are more about everybody getting the calls straight, not having situations like that Jeffrey Simmons sack a couple years ago. On defense, they're obviously playing really well. I mean, right now they're the number one scoring defense by a large margin. The Broncos are 3 points behind them in terms of points per game. I'm still a little bit concerned about the run defense when they face an opponent who has a good quarterback, because the Tampa game was the game where they really got thrashed versus the run. Last week, they knew that the challenge was we got to stop Derrick Henry, and they basically just changed the way their defensive line played completely to just being more conservative, playing gap control and stopping the run. I'm eager to see when they face like maybe the 49ers and some of these other teams, just exactly how they balance that out. But I'm nitpicking here. I'm kind of talking about like, okay, can they be an awesome, potentially all-time defense versus, you know, just the best, one of the top 5 defenses in the league?
Yeah, I'm with you. Like, I think I would have to nitpick and really find some things where, because the defense playing lights out, just being honest with you.
Yeah.
This defense we've seen the Houston Texans uniform probably in a while. And they did get gashed versus Tampa Bay. I think Rachaad White, Bucky Irving did a really good job kind of exposing some things, which I think they improved on, especially the tackling part, right?
Yeah.
They improved on that a lot after that game. But there was times where Rachaad White, the bigger back, they put him in the game. They kind of gashing him up the middle, probably because they were focused on more Baker Mayfield and the guys on the outside. But you're going to see that a lot come. I mean, Seattle has 2 good backs, whereas Zach Charbonnet and Kenneth Walker, right? Then you go to 49ers, you got Christian McCaffrey along with Brock Purdy, and that they got a lot of injured guys, along with Brock Purdy, right?
Yeah.
So it's gonna be interesting to see how they handle that part, but The defense, honestly, they put you in every single game. The games you lost, you could have actually won. Like you were in position to win.
And that was as the offense. Yeah, and that was as the offense was playing just one of the worst offenses in the league. One more tidbit that we got from Cecil yesterday that got me really excited, and I'll tell you about that after I tell you about Delete Me, because you got to be careful, everybody, about taking care of your information online, not letting it be exposed. We know it's difficult and overwhelming to do these days. Delete Me can help you. There's these data brokers out there that look at your data like a commodity, and anybody on the web can buy your private details. That can lead to identity theft, phishing attempts, and harassment. But now you can protect your privacy with Delete Me. Take control of your data and keep your private life private by signing up for Delete Me now at a special discount for our viewers and listeners. Get 20% off your Delete Me plan when you join Delete Me. It's at joindeleteme.com/pro. Use the promo code PRO at checkout. The only way to get 20% is to go to joindeleteme.com/pro and enter that code PRO at checkout. That's joindeleteme.com/pro. Offer code is PRO. And this was the bit from Nick Caserio yesterday when asked about Joe Mixon. And as a reminder, I'm very pessimistic about the prospects of Joe Mixon returning. So this might have gotten me a little bit more excited than it should. But here's Caserio on Joe Mixon.
Yeah, I think probably over the next few weeks we'll probably have a better idea. He's making progress, so I wouldn't put a particular timetable on it. So I think over the next 3-4 weeks, probably get a little more information here, kind of see how he's progressing, but taking one day at a time. But I think once we kind of get to that period, probably have a better sense of which way it's going to go for the duration of the year.
Yeah, so I actually got excited about that because in my mind I'd written Joe Mixon off completely. I see by the look on your face that you're not necessarily excited about that.
Seth, he didn't say anything.
Oh,
he said
come on,
same stuff he's been saying. But we'll follow up in a couple weeks and we'll get more information. It's a day-by-day thing. And something is up.
Son of a bitch.
Something is up. Something is wrong with Joe Mixon. I don't know what it is, but something's up.
He's made progress, Cecil. I don't
believe it. I don't believe it.
This is what I built up in my mind, and this is based on nothing but gut feel and maybe delusional optimism or something. The Isaac Paredes with the Astros. Hey, he could have just shut it down for the season, gotten surgery, and that's it. He could have been done, but he decided to try to see if he could come back in season. So and he did. I'm hoping that whatever Joe Mixon's foot/ankle injury is, that it was one of those things where it totally would have been feasible for him and understandable for him to shut it down for the season. But he thought, no, I'm going to wait and see if I can get it going. And that maybe 3 or 4 weeks from now is when they've set it as a deadline for either you got to have the surgery or you can try to make a comeback.
But why don't we know the injury? Like, why is everything such a secret?
I think
what injury lasts this long? No training camp.
Yeah.
No OT, no nothing. No sight of him. Tell me, Seth, who gets hurt and then they're starting a running back and you don't see them for months on months on months?
Well, because he's getting some kind of special treatment. It's elsewhere. It's from the cassette. Nick and I, we talked to Nick this morning on Payne and Pendergast, and he didn't really shed any extra light on the information other than it sounded like, I don't want to read too much into Nick's words, as you see that I'm very willing to do usually. It sounds like he might be getting rehab elsewhere. So I think he's coming back and forth. And so maybe whichever doctor or facility gave him, what I'm hoping is like some, possibly fringe, unethically advanced experimental procedure or something that he's got to be there. Maybe it's in Germany. I don't know. Seems like all the advanced medical stuff happens in Germany. Maybe they cloned him or something and harvested organs. I don't know.
Ooh, a clone Joe Mixon.
Yeah. Oh, that'd be cool.
Will he help me clone Joe Mixon?
Whenever I talk about this, what a lot of people will say is, hey, man, Chubb and Woody Marks are doing just fine. I agree, but Joe Mixon would add an element. If the offense can get some things on track and then all of a sudden you plop a Joe Mixon in, that could be really exciting.
That's a game changer. A healthy Joe Mixon is a game changer. The way, because honestly, he held that offense together last year. He was the glue, in my opinion, on that offense.
Yeah.
On the field, his attitude, his mindset, his determination, the way I'll never forget Green Bay Packers game. He's getting hit in the backfield multitude of times before he even gets to the line of scrimmage, making guys miss. He's just a special guy when he's healthy. So I agree with you. Those three together could be something really good to the offense.
The gauntlet that we talked about when the Texans come out of the bye week, the Seahawks, the 49ers, the Broncos, and the Jaguars, combined record of 14-6 right now. Cecil, the Seahawks, by the way, this week will play the Jaguars. The Jags are 1.5-point favorites at home, according to FanDuel. So that'll be a fun one to watch this weekend. Two things about that Seahawks game. One,
is it in Seattle or is it in Jacksonville?
It's in Seattle, which is just it's hard to explain just how brutally loud and vicious that place is. We took a huge beat down in 2005 in a primetime game. It was either a Sunday night or a Monday night game. It was just brutal. And so I know just how loud that place is. But this is the thing about that game. It starts at 9 p.m. Central Time. It's the late Monday night game, 9 p.m. Central Time.
9 p.m.?
Yes.
Oh, wow. Central?
Yes, on the West Coast. And then they have to travel back on a short week and then play the 49ers at home.
Wait, the Texans will play Seattle 9 o'clock?
Yes. So they'll get back at 7 in the morning on Tuesday and then have the 49ers at home that week. Yeah.
I hate so that it must be a 2 Monday night game. Did you say that?
Yeah.
Doubleheader? Oh, see, I don't like that. That stinks.
Do you want to hear that? Do you want to hear the other little wrinkle that's going to make you sick to your stomach? Because of well, it might not make you sick to your stomach, but a lot of Texans fans, the chances of that game getting moved to earlier in the day it's only possible if the Mariners are still in the playoffs and they have a home night game, perhaps, and the Seahawks would have to move their game up. So then we got a whole bunch of, because they could flex another game into the Monday night window or something.
Are really pissed off because Seattle is getting the
CJ's got to get that Mariners hat back in the rotation.
Yeah. Oh, that's funny. Okay.
Did you ever play a West Coast Monday night game where you get back at like 7 in the morning? It sucks. It's awful. Yeah.
But I have played in Seattle. And like I was thinking about it. So we played in Seattle. When I was in Jacksonville, we played there in 2013 or 2014. And we were literally in the huddle.
Yeah.
Calling the play. And you couldn't hear him talk. That's how loud it is. We're in the huddle. And we're like he's say I'm him. I'm like right here. Like, what did you say? And we couldn't hear anything. He had to signal in the huddle and signal outside the huddle.
I don't know like where it ranks in terms of decibels and everything. There's something about the acoustics of that stadium that just it feels louder than a domed stadium. I don't know what they did there to make it that way, but it's rough to play like that. I'll tell a story. On this Texans podcast, I'll tell a Jaguars story because you'll appreciate this. We played. I wasn't playing. I was injured. So I was watching this game on television. The Jaguars played up in Minnesota for a primetime game and got destroyed. They had to play their third-string quarterback, Jonathan Quinn, and they just got absolutely destroyed. So I'm injured. I'm going in Tuesday morning for rehab at like 8 a.m., figuring, whatever, it's going to be me and the other rehab guys in there. And the guys who actually played in the game will have the day off. They got beat so bad. Then on flying home, the airport in Jacksonville was fogged in, so the team plane had to land in Orlando and sit on the tarmac for like 3 hours before they could come and land in Jacksonville. So I drive into the facility, park my car. I get out of my car and I'm walking, and I see another couple guys getting out of the car, and it's Mark Brunell and Tony Baselli still wearing their suits because Tom Coughlin made you wear suits on the plane. And I'm like, what's going on, guys? He said, well, Coughlin wasn't happy with the way we played, so everybody has to go in and do 15 minutes on the stationary bike before they go home. So they landed.
That is crazy.
After a 3-hour delay in Orlando, got in their cars, drove to the facility, got on the stationary bike for 15 minutes, and then they were allowed to go home. It was that was the all-time worst situation for a night game away or a primetime game on the road.
Sheesh. Yeah, I don't think I ever played. I don't remember playing a primetime game like Monday night on the road.
Yeah.
Home, I remember like West Coast came to where we were on the East Coast or Central Time, but never on the road.
I think that's where, and I know people listening might be like, okay, what's the big deal? It's not that night that's hard. It's that you've got, with a Monday night game especially, you've already got one less day of recovery and your sleep is just completely screwed up. So you just kind of feel like a zombie for the next couple of days because you're trying to catch up on your sleep on a Tuesday, and then by Wednesday rolls around and you're out there practicing, and it to me at least, it always felt like I was just kind of in this, like a zombie, like I was just kind of in a drone walking around and go. You're trying not to just go through the motions, but you just it's almost like you're outside your body watching yourself try to go through everything. So that's the big challenge for the Texans coming out of the bye.
No, it's gonna be good. It's gonna be good. I can't believe it's a 9:00 game.
I know.
That's insane. Literally, they're not gonna get back till Tuesday. Like literally.
We'll be able to talk about this next week, and then also start previewing the Seahawks game on Monday. So this is the FanDuel presented Believe in Texans podcast. See, I'm already acting like I played an away Monday night game. Brain's not working. If you're on YouTube, please like, subscribe. If you're listening on Apple, please leave a 5-star review and some kind words like many of you have. I should read some of them next time. Cecil, thanks a lot. We'll see you next week.